6 Chapter 9. Really no. Just when Chen Yang was a little depressed, his mother said, Yang, don't say you don't have money. Even if you have money, it's only 50,000 yuan. Where can you find the 100,000 yuan left? I can't find you. Aunts borrow it. Why not? Chen Yang raised his head and said, as long as you can give me the money, you will have the first payment, and you can borrow the rest if you can. I will find a way if I can't. I really want to do it to accomplish this task. One cannot stop doing it just because it is difficult. HMPH, there is determination, but it's useless. Father Chen said with a cold snort, if you can find a job and have this determination, you will definitely succeed. Chen Yang said with a downcast face, looking for a job, the salary is 1 or 2,000 yuan a month, which is barely enough to live in Guangzhou. Even if I can do well, it will increase by 1 or 200 a year. Seize this opportunity. Among other things, the rent of 4,500 a month is safe, right? Won't my life be much easier in the future? Hearing this, Dad finally had a bit of hesitation on his face, but finally he sighed and said, there is really no money. If you want to buy it, you can find a way to raise the money yourself. Then I rummaged through the bag, counted 3,000 yuan and handed it to him. That's all. The remaining few hundred yuan will be kept for business. If the goods are not sold well today, the money for buying goods tomorrow will be paid. It's all gone. Chen Yang looked at him blankly. Why not? What about the 50,000 yuan? My mother snorted softly beside me. Let your eldest aunt borrow it. The eldest aunt borrowed it. Chen Yang was taken aback for a moment, then his face changed drastically, and he turned to look at his father. Give it all to her. Father Chen turned his head unnaturally. Last year both your aunt and aunt were laid off, and then your aunt's younger brother has a shop in the county. And he said that he can lend it to them for free to do business. During the Chinese New Year this year, your eldest aunt said she wanted to open a clothing boutique, but she didn't have the money to renovate it, so she borrowed it. But she also said that the money will be repaid within 2 years at most, which will not affect the purchase of a wedding house for you, and she will pay for the decoration. Hearing his father's words in his ears, Chen Yang thought about something else. He remembered that in his last life, it would take about 2 years before it came out. The eldest aunt borrowed a lot of money from outside, almost 300,000 to 40,000 yuan, and she used it all to buy lottery tickets. Therefore, even if her father was sick, she didn't pay any money, and she didn't blame her much. Unexpectedly, in the money she borrowed, there was 50,000 yuan from her own family. How did she manage to get it? This is the hard-earned money that my parents have worked hard all their lives. No wonder I wanted to start a business later, but I couldn't find money from my father. If I hadn't been entangled with it today, my parents probably wouldn't have talked about it. It turned out that the money was no longer in their hands. Of course, the eldest aunt still paid back the money in the end, otherwise my mother wouldn't have left her passbook when she left. However, can the 50,000 in more than 10 years be equated with the 50,000 now? Chen Yang looked at his father with a lot of grey hair on his head, and felt a sense of sadness in his heart. He hoped to help his sister when she was in the most difficult time, but he didn't expect to be tricked by his closest relatives. Shall I tell my dad about this? As soon as this idea came up, it was suppressed by Chen Yang. Let's forget it, not to mention whether my father would believe what I said. Even if he believed it, how did I know? Can't explain clearly. Now that it is confirmed that there is no money, Chen Yang will naturally not bother, but he did not go back immediately, but helped his mother to sell goods at the stall. And his father would also help to move the tricycle when delivering the goods. Dad Chen was a little surprised. If the previous behavior was to get money from the family, then he has no money now, but he can continue to work. It seems that this son has really grown up. Thinking of this, in his eyes I couldn't help showing a bit of relief. It seemed that the package in my hand was much lighter. The market is not bad today. I have been busy all night. After 6 o'clock in the morning, all the goods are sold out. The family cleaned up the remaining garbage, cleaned up the stalls and went home. When passing by the vegetable market on the road, Chen Ma bought some meat and fish, and you don't need to buy vegetables. You can just take some from the vegetable bag. That's what people do. When he got home, Chen Yang took a shower first, and then waited for his mother to cook. Not long after, my aunt, uncle, and cousin also came back. There were 3 of them, and they brought more goods than Chen's parents and Chen's mother. It's normal to come back later. During the meal, Dad Chen said, it's enough to experience this kind of thing. Your job is not to sell vegetables to me. You don't have to go there anymore from today. Take a day off first and start looking for a job tomorrow. When the cousin heard it, he looked at Chen Yang in surprise. Yang helped all night yesterday. That's right, Chen Ma said with a smile on her face. It's a lot easier for me to have someone to help me. Chen Yang laughed twice, but didn't speak. He was still thinking about how to make money. After eating, he went to rest. When he woke up, it was already past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. As soon as Chen Yang was about to get up, he felt sore all over his body. Lay down, this job is really beyond the capabilities of ordinary people. You reading www.ukanshu.com suffers too much. But after thinking about it, my parents have been doing such heavy physical work day and night for more than a year. They are all elderly people. How can their bodies bear it? No. We must change this situation as soon as possible, so that parents can be relieved as soon as possible. Rubbing my waist, I walked out and went to the living room to have a look. Just like yesterday, the rice cooker was on to keep warm. Chen Yang washed a pair of dishes and was ready to eat when the door was suddenly pushed open. He turned his head and saw his cousin walking in. Chen Yang blinked. Hey, why didn't you go to stock up today? Haven't eaten yet. Do you want to eat something together? As he spoke, he raised the bowls and chopsticks in his hand. Yang Yong came over and said, "Eat it, you can eat it yourself, and the goods are on the way, your aunt is sorting it out." Speaking of this, Yang Yong paused for 2 seconds, looked at Chen Yang with a strange look, and then asked, "Hey, I heard from my second aunt that you want to buy a stall." "Ah," Chen Yang was taken aback for a moment, then smiled embarrassingly. "They told you?" "Yes, I want to buy it. Let's see if I can get the money together first." Yang Yong hesitated, and asked, "Then you never thought about it? What if the market really moves after you buy it, and you move right away? What will you do if you lose money?" "I thought about it. Since my cousin doesn't eat, he can eat by himself." He brought out the bowl first, and said while filling the rice, "Normally, there is a subsidy for relocation, and if it's a 1-to-1 replacement, even if the price drops, it's still worth it. I won't lose all of the money, let alone." Chen Yang turned around with a good rice bowl in his hand, and said with a smile, "Even if I lose all 150,000 yuan, so what? Anyway, I'm still young, and at worst, I'll work part-time to pay off my debts, and start over again." "You don't think I even earn 150,000 yuan? Aren't you coming back?"